Well, welcome to Central Cardiff, where the Wallabies have just clinched their second World Cup.
Well, I'm Stuart Barnes, this is Nick Farr-Jones, and before Nick gets too far out of it, let's take you through the story of the 1999 World Cup.
Sit back, enjoy, and watch it all unfold.
The fourth Rugby World Cup kicked off amid the pomp and ceremony of Cardiff's purpose-built Millennium Stadium. 74,000 fans inside, thousands more outside, without a ticket, drinking Cardiff dry.
Come on, the boys!
It was party time. Put on your Wales shirt, slap on the war paint, and sing your heart out. If there were any doubts about what the host nation expected of Graham Henry's brave new Wales, an emotional opening ceremony soon put them to rights. The build-up was breathtaking, not so Wales, with the faithful expected to walk over Argentina. The boot of Gonzalo Quezada dampened those expectations.
In it goes, no problems at all for Quesada, and Argentina lead Wales 6-0.
Fortunately, Wales could rely on their very own golden boot, Neil Jenkins.
He doesn't miss those, and Wales, after 31 minutes, a level, 6-all. Howley, now there's a bit of space on the right. Thomas, Gavin Jenkins. He needs to cut in field. Well done, he stayed, stopped the ball from going into touch. That was the important thing. Wales still have it. Can they get it wide now? Jarvis bumps his man off. He's under the post. And Colin Jarvis scores his fourth try for Wales. And huge relief to the Welsh crowd. Oh, and a lovely wide pass to David James. Now, when he's in full flow, he's really got pace. Back inside to Gareth Thomas. Back inside to Taylor, and Taylor with a clear run to the post. Third try for Wales for Mark Taylor.
Despite the two tries and the free-flowing rugby either side of half-time, Wales faltered in the final quarter. Quesada kicked 18 points to move the Pumas to within 5 points of the hosts by the final whistle. Wales had the result, but they would have to improve. In Group A, reigning champions South Africa relaxed with a round of golf before their most demanding fixture against Scotland at Murrayfield. A difficult lead-up to the tournament had seen Joos van der Westhuizen replace the inspirational Gary Teichmann as captain, and the team became embroiled in a damaging row over the inclusion of a quota of non-white players in the squad. A disastrous run of games had seen the Springboks convincingly beaten by New Zealand, Australia and Wales in Cardiff. Injury also deprived coach Nick Mallett of first-choice fly-half Henry Honourable. He would be replaced by Yanni de Beer. Nevertheless, with a powerful pack marshalled by van der Westhuizen, the Boks could never be discounted. Would the Springbok continue that 100% winning World Cup record begun in 1995, or would they be carved up by the Five Nations champions?
And Armstrong, great little break from the scrum half. Over! Try there for Martin Leslie, through the gap like a shot. Cameron Murray setting it up. Gary Armstrong comes out with it. He hasn't found touch. Glenn Metcalf gets Montgomery, but he gets his pass away. And through goes Dion Kaiser. And away goes Robbie Fleck. Well, just as it appeared that Scotland had lifted the siege, they missed two vital tackles.
By half-time, 2 tries and the boot of Kenny Logan had given the Scots a 16-13 lead. Could Jim Telfer's team hold out in the second half?
Used Venterberstaven, 2-on-1 on the left, and away and over goes number 17, Ollie LaRue. Oh, and a lovely little break again by Fleck to Andre Penta, and there's no Scottish defence left.
46-29 to the world champions, and talk of a South African demise appeared premature. In Galashiels, a more esoteric encounter was taking place. Uruguay, twice winner of football's World Cup, were taking part in their first oval ball competition. With a player pool of just over 2,000 to choose from, their qualification in the repechage over Portugal and Morocco had been a minor miracle. The team could also boast the oldest player in the tournament. For 40-year-old number 8, Diego Ormachea, the World Cup would be the high point of a rugby career and the opportunity to put the sport in the headlines back home. When Uruguay took on Spain, both teams played it like a cup final, knowing that this would be their only opportunity to win a game in the competition.
In from Chiara. They do push him for those Spaniards, and they're going for the pushover try. Watch for the referee's arm to be raised. Uruguay in front, and eventually Ormachea may well be the one who's got the ball in his grasp. It is the fairy story we were talking about, and Diego Ormachea, the captain of Uruguay, scores their first ever try in World Cup finals. Just managing to hold on to the ball with Sanchez. It'll be fired out to the left, surely. The score here, maybe. And the man who's made the break is Cardoso, and Cardoso races over for what may well be a clinching score for Uruguay.
At the final whistle, with Uruguay taking victory 27-15, the Uruguayans hugged the talismanic Ormachea. Rugby World Cup embraced the minor nations. For the remaining Group A games, it was business as usual. Scotland's expected runners-up spot in the group was never in doubt, although the manner of their qualification gave coach Jim Telfer some headaches. This Metcalf try was the high point in a stuttering defeat of Uruguay, but was followed by a better performance against Spain. After their defeat of Scotland, South Africa had the luxury of playing a second-choice 15 against Uruguay. Despite Yanni de Beer and Dion Kaiser in the team, Uruguay bravely only conceded 39 points to the world champions. 47 points were put past the Spanish, but of greater concern to the Springboks was Brendan Fenter's sending off for Stampin. He would be lost for 2 weeks. In Group B, England were paired with New Zealand, Tonga and Italy. England had managed to come through a very public summer of tabloid shame involving the resignation of captain Lawrence Dallaglio by carefully reintegrating him into the squad just a month before the tournament. Meticulous preparation had been the theme of Clive Woodward's reign as England coach. With nothing left to chance, many saw their game against New Zealand as the defining moment of the tournament group stage. However, in their opening match, they faced Italy, who were hoping to confirm their arrival as one of Europe's elite teams. The two teams had met 12 months earlier in Huddersfield in a qualifying game when England had run out narrow winners. But since that game, Italy had endured a nightmare. They had been thrashed by South Africa by 100 points, which had led to the resignation of their French coach, George Costes. Our new coach, Massaletti, had just 3 months to get the team back on track. An intriguing match was in prospect.
And an interception from Dominguez. He's going to go under the post, is he? Can he get there? Yes, he can.
Dominguez's opportunist try put Italy within 10 of England, but they were the last points Italy would score for the rest of the afternoon as England ran riot.
Oh, picked up Matt Dawson getting away. Taking on Troncon. Yes, he's got away from him. Look how well he hands on, feeds immediately. Now they've just got to move the ball, but they don't need to go far. To Glanville, under the posts. Another try made by Matt Dawson.
With 20-year-old fly-half Johnny Wilkinson scoring a record 32 points, England ran out 67-7 winners. Clive Woodward's team were looking the real thing.
Now will they move it wide? Bit of space out here. Healy, though, slips his man. Lovely pass to Perry in the corner.
World Cup favourites New Zealand had made a high-profile arrival, flying in on their own 747. They were hoping to keep up their record as the most successful team in the competition. After losing an unprecedented 5 tests on the trot in 1998, coach John Hart's team were back on song. A three-quarters line of Jeff Wilson, Christian Cullen and Tana Umunga had helped New Zealand regain the Tri-Nations title. And the Lomu factor was back. After an eventful 3 years which had encompassed recovery from injury and liver disease, the most recognisable rugby player on the planet was back on form and more popular than ever. Ironically, it was Tonga, the land of his birth, that was to be first on the receiving end.
The tackling of Tonga has to be solid. Merton switching it again to Lomu. What an option to have at your shoulder. John Lomu in a great position there to get his 18th try in his 33rd game for the All Blacks. Oliver goes into play scrum half. Kronfeld gets it away well under pressure. Merton's the long ball to Lomu. And it's a stroll. Second try for John Lomu. Breaking the hearts of the Tongans. He makes it look so easy.
A devastating display by Lomu saw him score 2 tries as New Zealand ran out 45-9 winners. The performance gave England an idea of what to expect at Twickenham. Austin Healey, the man set to face him on the wing, was expecting the worst.
To be honest, I'm in a no-lose situation, really, because probably the majority of the world expects him to run over the top of my head. So if he does, no one will be disappointed.
In a packed and expectant Twickenham, one of the matches of the tournament would be played out.
Off the top from Dane Randall. Mertens to Lomu. Again, steamrollers straight through to Glanville, but the second men got him. Now there's space, is Cullen, Umunga, Luga. Well, was it a try? Yes, it was. Didier Mene is quite happy that that pass didn't go forward. Try to Wilson.
Cullen's free. Once he's free, it's real danger. They've got great runners all over the place now. Was it forward? I don't think so. I think the decision was right. It was out the back door.
Jeff Wilson's try helped the All Blacks to a 10-point lead, but Johnny Wilkinson's improved second-half kicking drew England closer.
Wilkinson runs into the brick wall of Wilson and Jeremiah. Guscott, little chip and go, puts it through for Perry. It's a try, it has to be. He can actually touch it down against the foot of the post. It was a messy one, but England don't care.
De Glanville's opportunist score at the base of the post and Wilkinson's boot dragged England back into the game. With 20 minutes remaining, the game was balanced on a knife edge, 16-all.
Garforth goes to set it up. Back in with him, Wilkinson. Through the hands, a little knock on there. If the All Blacks don't come up with the ball, they'll have the scrum. They don't need it. Umunga. 3-on-2 out wide. Guscott to Lomu. And he sees off Guscott. Healy through, he's gone through Healy as well. And the big man's done it again. Jonah Lomu.
What a fantastic player. The Scots got him here. No way, skips out of it. Of course, now he's in his stride, it now makes it so difficult. Really has a go. He's squatted off. Dawson has a go. He's pushed off. Luger comes across. He's pushed off. What a player. What a try.
Careful, setting it up. England have it. And the referee saying that's okay, it was out. And now suddenly, over goes. Is it Gibson? No, it's Kelleher. Byron Kelleher.
New Zealand were the victors, 30 points to 16, and Lomu had done the damage just as he had in the World Cup semi-final 4 years earlier. The All Blacks would qualify directly for the quarter-finals, leaving England to fight for Group B's other guaranteed qualifying spot. After losing their opening games, Italy and Tonga were hoping to put their World Cup back on track when they met in Leicester.
Chance now for Taione. Will he take it on? Big man, watch him go. But a good tackle by Vakari. Vakari's done his job now. Tueri taking it in. Martins. And a big break by Taufahema. And Taufahema is clean through.
As Tonga ran in the tries, Dominguez kicked the goals. In injury time, he was faced with this kick to level the score.
Dominguez for Italy to level the scores. He's given it a magnificent kick. That really was world class from Dominguez, the outside half for Italy.
With the clock running out, the first draw of the World Cup seemed to be approaching.
Tonga wait. Back now with Tuipulotu, the fullback. Has he done it for Tonga? It could be desperate. It is a magnificent drop kick by Sateki Tuipulotu, and the most incredible ending to a rugby match I have ever seen. And the Tongans have gone balmy in Leicester.
Tuipulotu's last kick of the game had snatched a famous victory for the Islanders, their second in World Cup history. It also set them up with a chance of qualifying for the playoffs if they could beat England at Twickenham.
Look at TV!
The atmosphere in the camp was relaxed. After qualifying in the Pacific Repechage, the Tongans had prepared for the championship with a 6-week training camp in South Africa, practicing their wet weather ball handling skills. After decades of having their finest talent like Jonah Lomu exploited by New Zealand and Australia, the Tongans had managed to assemble a team rated the finest in their history. The England match would see them demonstrate their lighter and darker side.
The Tongans mounting their first attack. Oh, and they move it wonderfully wide. That's Tueti, Dave Tueti. Over he goes. And Tueti, the right wing, after a smashing set move.
After Tueti's try had brought Tonga to within 4 points, Matt Perry was on the receiving end of a WWF-style hit. Tafau took the law into his own hands and received his marching orders. The sending-off destroyed the game as England racked up 13 tries and tore Tonga to pieces.
Guscott, can he go all the way? An imperious dummy, and he can. He's cruising, and the crowd love it. Who said he's too old to go 80 metres?
What do they say, John? You can't keep a good man down.
Johnny Wilkinson's England points record lasted just 13 days as his replacement, Paul Grayson, racked up 36 points. England recorded their biggest ever win, but the day belonged to Jeremy Guscott. After a glorious career spanning 65 caps, this would be his last test for England. Group C was a Gallic affair. Canada, Namibia and Fiji would play their games against France in Toulouse, Bordeaux and Béziers. But all was not well at the French training camp in Toulouse. After taking back-to-back Grand Slams in '97 and '98, the '99 season had been a disaster for the tricolour. The wooden spoon in the Five Nations was followed by an awful summer with defeats to Wales, Tonga and a 54-point thrashing by the All Blacks in New Zealand. There was rumour of division between coach Jean-Claude Scraler and senior players, led by captain Raphael Ibanez. Nevertheless, there was some good news. Inspirational lot Abdel Benazzi was fit after 2 years of injury to lead an experienced pack who could rely on stalwarts like prop Christian Califano. And Christophe Tutu-La-Maison was starting to strike the ball oh so sweetly. For their opening games, fans gathered in Toulouse in the hope of seeing some free-flowing French rugby. Even President Chirac got carried away as France were expected to dominate a group which contained no Five Nations or Tri-Nations rivals. But they were knocked out of their stride as the committed Canadians took the lead through scrum half Morgan Williams. It was only in the second half that the French rediscovered some fluency.
20, fit enough though to take his place, but again it's that man Benazzi who takes it. Ibanez, the skipper, with the drive. Mignoni probing that side. Tourné with a dummy. Now if France can get good possession and spread it wide, there are definite opportunities here. Stéphane Glas, Castagnier does beautifully, into Mac. And that's it, surely. Victory to France.
Despite a 33-20 point victory, the French performance was far from convincing. An even worse display in their second game against Namibia had French team manager Joe Mazot, assistant coach Pierre Villepreux, and the entire French squad defending themselves from a critical French press. But if the team thought things couldn't get any worse, they were wrong. A thigh injury during training following the Canada game robbed them of fly-half Thomas Castagnier. The team would have to progress in the tournament without their most creative player. But while the French were getting lost just down the road in Montauban, the Fijians were kicking back and enjoying the attention. The masters of open running rugby had won just one World Cup game in 7 appearances prior to 1999. But thanks to Brad Johnston, yet another former All Black coach in the competition, the Fijians had found some form. After running in a hatful of tries in their 2 games against Canada and Namibia, they travelled to Toulouse to face the brittle French in a decisive encounter. The winners would go straight into the quarter-finals. The losers would face England in a playoff at Twickenham.
Toulouse off the top, big drive from the French. Castagnier back inside to Juillet, over he goes. Try for Juillet. And suddenly the crowd comes alive. That's exactly what they needed.
With France leading by 10, Fiji faced their first bad refereeing decision of the day, as a perfectly good try was disallowed for a non-existent knock-on. However, in the second half, the Fijians demonstrated their legendary skills.
Through the middle, beautifully done. But Luinao is going all the way. And Luinao is going in under the post. Brilliant try at last from Fiji, just what the game needed.
Having taken a 6-point lead, Fiji faced their second contentious decision of the day. A penalty try awarded to France after a scrum reset 7 times by referee Paddy O'Brien. The decision proved to be the turning point of the game.
To Gabiosa. Beautiful run from Galtier. Gets the ball inside. Benazzi, Califano. The Toulousain would have loved that, but they like that just as much. Dominici makes the game safe for France.
Victory to France. It was England at Twickenham for the unlucky Fijians. After their unconvincing win over Argentina, Wales next faced Japan in Cardiff. New Zealand coach Graham Henry had transformed the team, and the Welsh were in the middle of a 12-match unbeaten run. They lost Colin Jarvis to suspension, but in Neil Jenkins they had a goal kicker on the verge of becoming the highest point scorer in Test history. Their opponents, Japan, were hoping that the 1999 World Cup would keep them out of the headlines. Their match against the All Blacks 4 years previously had made news for all the wrong reasons, as New Zealand had run in 20 tries. Since that humiliating experience, Japan had been recruiting as many Kiwis eligible through residency as possible. 6 Kiwis were in their ranks, including Graham Bashop, one of their tormentors in '95, and captain Andrew McCormack, the first ever foreign player to lead Japan.
And there's a turnover for Japan. Ohata, he's quick, very quick. Excellent score.
Ohata's try would be the only score for Japan in the tournament, but it was Wales who ran out as 64-15 winners.
Gareth Thomas scored 3 tries on his debut against Japan in the '95 World Cup. Gets support again from Howard. This is lovely play by Wales. Scott Gibbs all the way to the line.
In the other Group D game, Argentina were hoping to go one better than their narrow defeat against Wales when they prepared for Samoa. Despite possessing one of the strongest scrummage impacts in rugby, the Pumas had never managed to come good during the World Championships, notching up just a solitary win and 3 first-round eliminations. For 1999, though, they could count on the coaching experience of former All Black coach Grizz Wiley. A cold, rainy Llanelli was the venue for their decisive game against the Samoans. If Wales topped the group as expected, this game would decide who would qualify with them.
And here is an opportunity, and surely it must be the first score of the afternoon, and the giant figure of Junior Paramore is over Samoa in front.
Samoa ran the ball, but they felt the full force of Quesada's boot.
Quesada will go for the drop. This looking good. It's high. It's a towering kick from Quesada.
Quesada's drop goal and 8 penalties made up the bulk of Argentina's 32-16 point victory over the Samoans. With just Japan to play, the next round was finally within the Pumas' grasp. With Wales to play in Cardiff as their final game, the Samoans were in need of some inspiration. Where better to go than Manchester United's Theatre of Dreams? And it wasn't a bad place to brush up on your commentating skills. If you get knocked out, at the National Stadium in 1991, Samoa had defeated Wales in one of the most humiliating upsets in the Principality's history. Could lightning strike twice? For the Welsh, there was the small matter of paying tribute to the most prolific kicker the modern game has ever seen.
Neil Jenkins, number 1, 913 points in his international career. Beats the world record held by Michael Lynagh. To Jenkins. Taylor, lovely pass to Howard. Gareth Thomas has to do it all himself to begin with. The decision is the try.
Thomas's try put the Welsh 9 points clear, but then it started to go all wrong. Sloppy line-out play gifted Leo Falanico a try, and Samoa ran riot.
Sayalo to Bishop. Bishop, all the angles of running. Bringing in Leanga from fullback. It's Bishop. Howard is steaming up from fullback. Winnell couldn't get to him, and Bishop can now go clear. Stephen Bishop is going to get his second score, and Samoa have taken a dramatic lead as we come up to half-time.
A Welsh penalty try and 16 points from the boot of Jenkins brought the scores to 31 all with 20 minutes remaining.
What a game. Lima out wide to Lam, takes the ball beautifully too. Brian Lima pops it up, the try.
Liagay's try sealed a dramatic 38-31 point win for Samoa.
That is it.
The Welsh had been vanquished once more. The result meant that Argentina could qualify as group winners, runners-up or best third-place team, depending on how many points they could put past Japan. Augustin Pichot's try was the high point in a low-scoring match, so Wales took the top spot while Samoa and Argentina would face the playoffs. On the outskirts of Dublin, Australia were preparing to win their second William Webb Ellis Trophy on British soil. After playing a record 13 tests during the 1999 season, the Wallabies had been able to recover key men in the lead-up to the finals. Fullback Matt Burke and, most importantly, captain John Eales were all pronounced fit for the tournament. A backline of Tim Horan, Stephen Larkham, Daniel Herbert and scrum half George Gregan and a formidable forward line would give coach Rod McQueen one of the strongest squads in the competition. Despite losing the Tri-Nations to New Zealand, the Wallabies had won the Bledisloe Cup series against their great rivals with a convincing win in Sydney. In their first game, Australia took on Romania in Belfast.
They look more willing to switch the play now. A devastating break this time by Burke. He may do it all by himself. He's still twisting, turning, getting the ball in field. They really are queuing up for this one. And Burke really deserves to score it because he had such a huge part in the move. And the man many regard as the best fullback in the world is on the try sheet.
Australia's win sent out a warning to their main group rivals Ireland as they faced the USA at Lansdowne Road. The match would see the creation of an unlikely Irish try-scoring legend.
Here we go on the roll. They must be over. Keith Wood, he's beginning to score in every match now. Keith Wood, is he in for a second? Yes! And here's Wood again. Wood's got a hat-trick. Here's Elwood, only one man to his right, and that's that new winger, Keith Wood, 4!
Wood's 4 tries in a 53-8 point victory was a world record for a hooker and set up their next game with Australia. If Australian centre Danny Herbert had any conflicting emotions about the game, he was keeping them well hidden. As one of 2 Irish passport holders in the Wallaby squad, he was eligible to play for either team. Unfortunately for Ireland, it wasn't for them.
And Australia again have the possession. Then 2. Heffu. Superb. Mallon for the support. Richard Harry over the 22. Can Australia finish it off this time? Timmy Horan will do. Timmy Horan with his 30th international try. Reagan brings in Roth. Great chance here. Horan gets the pass out wide. It's Bentoon. That's the clinching score then. Lovely move by the Wallabies.
Tune's try capped a convincing 23-3 point win for the Wallabies, and sealed Ireland's fate as playoff contenders against Argentina. In their last group game, Australia would face the USA, who had lost both their games against Ireland and Romania.
Don't listen to your partner.
Yeah. Oh, that was fabulous.
Despite having players such as 6'9" lock Luke Gross and current Bath number 8 Dan Lyle in their ranks, the Americans were happy just to spread the rugby gospel back home and gain some vital publicity.
And the Australians are having to defend doggedly here against this American side, full of bravery, full of running. Again, Luke Gross was carrying the ball into them. It's new, it's Hightower. And they really do deserve a score for all their endeavours over the recent minutes. And New has got a long ball out here, and they are going to get a try. What a roar for Juan Grobler. He scores for the United States of America, no more than they deserve. Excellent. Whittaker, Williams, Larkham. Oh, they're opening them up now with regularity and with speed here, and it's a try on the left for Burke.
Australia's 55-19 point victory meant they would meet Wales in the quarter-final. Following their unlucky defeat by France, Fiji prepared for their quarter-final playoff. With a majority of the squad devout Christians, fly-half Wasali Sarevi and the rest of the team searched for a little divine inspiration for their game against England at Twickenham. Against a powerful England with Johnny Wilkinson back at fly-half, Fiji always had their work cut out.
Neil back, Luger gets away, Dan Luger, and a game-breaking try from Dan Luger. Wide, kicks for the corner, they actually had an overlap, but back is there, back is over! Terrific kick from Johnny Wilkinson. Louis now again, but we saw him step away for his try. He had another go then, held on to by Matt Dawson. They're getting men free, men inside, and a great try, Satala. Fiji have not given up yet. Penalty England, they try to get in over the top and stop England winning it. Dawson takes it quickly, Garforth hits hard, sets it back. Wilkinson picks it up beautifully, 3-on-2. Into the corner. Can he get there? Yes, he can.
Too late for Fijian tries won the crowd over, but England ran out 45 to 24-point winners. Fiji said their goodbyes, but England travelled to Paris to face South Africa.
Good morning, everybody in Manchester. Speaking from Granada Studio. On today's news, we will be talking to Bill Tani, better known as Coronation Street Jack Duckworth.
Meanwhile, Samoa were enjoying some of England's homegrown entertainment in the run-up to their playoff against Scotland. A visit to Granada Studios gave coach Brian Williams the perfect opportunity to pop into the Rovers' return and brush up on his presenting skills.
So join us this morning.
I'm here now at 10 Downing Street, and I'll come to see old Tony Blair.
The Samoans made all the right noises before the match against Scotland at Murrayfield, but it was Jim Telfer's side who had the answers on the pitch.
In on the bursts. Tackle was a good one from the Samoan. But again, it's there for Scotland. Gregor Townsend. Pountney, number 7, got in there after Lima knocked the ball away. There's still pressure on Samoa. Can Scotland get it down? Yes, they can. Second try of the first half then to Scotland. Just 10 metres or so out. Drop goal by Gregor Townsend.
2 penalty tries and a drop goal helped the Scots to a 20-point lead before the Samoans brought their running game into play.
Now, if Samoa can get this ball out, not quickly enough though, but Tuingabala sets it up for Vayenga. Fonaloa, Setiti. Excellent score by Samoa. Leanga has to keep the ball alive, but it's Townsend. Slips the ball away well. Cameron Murray over from the right wing. Can he go all the way? Pass back inside.
Scotland won 35-20. The Samoans could return home with their pride intact, but their hosts had the dubious honour of facing the All Blacks. The third and final playoff match took place in Lens as 22,000 French gathered to see if Keith Wood and Ireland could fend off Argentina. In a titanic kick-in duel, David Humphreys set an Irish record with 7 penalties to go with this dropped goal as Ireland opened up a 9-point lead. But he was matched kick for kick by the deadliest boot of them all. When Quesada kicked his 6th penalty of the game, the Pumas trailed by 3 points with 10 minutes to go.
Shot with the feed. The Pumas will get a shove on here. Look at Ireland though. Look at that scrummage. But Argentina win it. Contepome. Oh, it's the pass to Albanese, and Albanese is there.
Albanese's converted try gave Argentina the lead for the first time. Quesada's 7th penalty of the match could give them a 4-point lead.
This the chance to extend that lead. Quesada kicks, and Quesada has kicked the 3 points.
With the referee awarding 6 minutes of injury time, could Alex Wiley's team hold out for the greatest win in their history, or would the Irish fight back?
Wood, Keith Wood, he's a yard short. Tierney ripping it for Wallace, he can't get there. They're battering the line, and the referee has blown for the end of the match. And amazing scenes in Los. Argentina have made the quarterfinals of the World Cup for the first time in their history.
No smile in Irish eyes, but for Argentina, elation and a quarter-final against France in Dublin.
Unbelievable scenes up there at Lens. I was there for that day, and a lot of Argentinian fans, and didn't they rise to the occasion? I mean, they've seen their team have a wonderful upset, but a great try from Albanese at the end. I mean, that was just a superb try, wonderfully worked backline play, and of course that sealed the match. Quesada then converting from the sideline. Grizz Wiley, the New Zealand coach who's taken over Argentina, almost managed a grin, but Stu, the tournament needed that, didn't it? It had gone to plan till then, and then we had this great upset.
Well, that's the big worry with rugby, isn't it, that there aren't enough upsets. 91, nobody will ever forget what Samoa did to Wales in Cardiff. Argentina doing it to Ireland, that was the equivalent, and it was a wonderful thing. And neutrals were going absolutely potty. You could see Englishmen pretending they were running around in Buenos Aires. It was absolutely fabulous. But I tell you what, in Dublin, it must have been sober that night, because that was a poor Irish performance to cap what had been a very poor World Cup.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
I tell you what, those playoffs, they weren't bad for some of the so-called smaller nations, because Fiji went down to England, but they played some wonderful rugby. And Alfred Ulinei, the fullback, what a star he was with those running lines.
Yeah, I mean, they got a fantastic reception when they did their victory lap at Twickenham. Of course, we all knew England would win at home, but the Fijians took their toll, didn't they, Stuart? And did that have an impact on England preparing then for the big match against South Africa on the weekend?
Well, I tell you what, England are in great physical shape. They went through that World Cup superbly strong and fit. But when you get the hits that we saw coming in from Fiji, it must have some impact. And even if it's only 1%, that 1% when you're playing someone like South Africa, you know, that can be quite important. So I think they've got to look at the drawing boards and say, do we play midweek playoffs? Although New Zealand will probably say, well, tough, win in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. But they only had the 4 days then to focus on South Africa. And in the third playoff game, well, Scotland had done their homework. They'd obviously looked at some of the tapes of Samoa, where they're dangerous, how not to play them, as Wales showed us.
Well,
and they were very tight, weren't they, Scotland?
That's a victory for tactics. Jim Telford, as you say, he just tightened the game up. They picked and drove in that old Scottish way, almost resembling old-fashioned New Zealand, and they just stopped Samoa breathing. They suffocated them out of the games. Guys like Brian Lima, I don't think Lima got a touch till the last minute, and they really just squeezed that Samoan scrum, and it was a very clever, astute Scottish win. Before his quarter-final clash with Australia, Welsh prop Ben Evans relaxed with a spot of fishing. For Wales, the game against Australia would prove just how far they had come in the last 12 months. Were they still rugby minnows, or could they swim with the big fish?
The killer tench. He's easily about 3 or 4 pounds.
The Australians have turned it over again. They've got an overlap on this side again. Wyatt misses his man. Gregan inside, and he's over. Try Australia.
Gregan's try instantly had Wales on the back foot, and as usual, they relied on the boot of Jenkins.
The cheers tell you it's over. The gap is 4 points again. Australia 10, Wales 6. Giffen, Sinkinson lines up his man, but out goes the ball to Herbert. Larkham, chip and chase. Has he got there? Yes, he has. Ben Tune. Horan, can he get away? Yes, he can. Sinkinson can't get him. Bateman tries. The ball goes forward. Well, the referee saying it wasn't a knock-on. David James had surely touched that down. Well, if there was any question of it, Scott Quinnell going mad at the referee claiming there was no touchdown and giving the try.
Gregan's try following a blatant knock-on only added insult to Welsh injury. Australia's 24 to 9 point win booked their semi-final place, but for Wales, the dream was over. Meanwhile, for England, captain Martin Johnson, Martin Corrie, Will Greenwood and 4 other Leicester players in the England squad, a gap in the World Cup schedule gave them the chance to enjoy a busman's holiday. Leicester faced London Irish in a league match, and for their England stars forced to watch from the sidelines, it was the chance to catch up with the old teammates and experience the frustrations of watching from the wings. Leicester snatched the win in the dying seconds. Could this be a favourable quarter-final omen for Johnson and the England team? In the shadow of Murrayfield, Bobby Skinstad, South Africa's confident number 8, and the rest of the team were building for the England match by working on their technique. At curling, that is. Whilst England had been taking the long, hard route in the competition, South Africa had been taking it easy. They had 10 days to prepare for their Paris quarter-final. England, just 3.
The most improved player since he went on the ice, which is a very small prize. But you did very well.
Thank you. The encounter between the two teams in front of 80,000 fans in the Stade de France would prove unforgettable. England's Paul Grayson preferred to Johnny Wilkinson set the tone in a match dominated by the boot.
Again, it is long enough. And again, it's over. A stupendous kick from Grayson.
But he was matched kick for kick by his South African counterpart, Jannie de Beer.
Right, looks good. Over it goes.
Close to half-time, it was the Springboks who made the breakthrough.
Back it comes, use it, shouts the referee, and they do. The kick's not so good. Beale needs to take this one. Poor kick, set that up. There's the danger, Montgomery. And Muller, Joos van der Westhuizen. Is he given the try? Yes, he has.
Van der Westhuizen had broken the deadlock. If it appeared that the Springbok captain had touched the corner flag a fraction before grounding the ball, it was scant consolation for England. Grayson kicked England to within a point early in the second half before Jannie de Beer drop-kicked England into World Cup oblivion.
Drop goal from De Beer. It's over. De Beer's got the distance. Over it goes again. This will be his third attempt at the drop goal. And my goodness, he's done it. And De Beer does it again. 4 drop goals. De Beer again with a drop goal. Unbelievable! A 5th drop goal. He's not just broken the world record, he's smashed it to smithereens.
The boot of De Beer shattered English aspirations as everything went the Springbok way.
De Beer, goodness me, I thought he was going to try another drop goal from there. This time hoists it wide. Oh, and the bounce is perfect for Peter Rousseau. He scored only 1 try in the last 10 tests. And just to round off South Africa's day, he's gifted one.
The Rainbow Nation ran out 44 points to 21 winners. De Beer kicked 34 of those points and claimed that world record 5 drop goals in a match. The holders would face Australia at Twickenham. For England, it was the end of the road. At Lansdowne Road, Argentina were looking for another scalp as they faced the unconvincing French in Dublin.
Soulette. La Maison. Durt. The good tackle from Arbissou. Jouillet with men over here. Garbajosa is going to score a tremendous try for France. And Lansdowne Road comes to its feet.
Within 10 minutes, tries by Garbajosa and Bernat Salles had given France a 17-point lead, but the Pumas were not ready to roll over.
Longo, Pichot, he's quick, and he's there. Pichot has dived for the line, and Augustin Pichot has scored for Argentina. Pichot waits. Quesada. Oh, that was slowly done by Arbissou, and this is Ntamak, and Ntamak has dived for the try, and Derek Bevan has given it. Emile Ntamak has scored his 25th try for France. And Argentina get the penalty. They did have a try-scoring chance. Albanese, Ledesma, quickly taken on, the momentum with the South Americans. Quesada, Arbissou, there's no one outside him. Yes, there is, it's Camardon, but Arbissou has gone himself. Arbissou, the captain.
Quesada was replaced by Contepomi, and the substitute kicked Argentina to within 4 points. but the French finally found that extra gear.
On to De Villiers. Castagnède runs across. La Maison into Mac. Arnaud Coste. This is Cabajosa with Benatsal outside. A wonderful tackle, but the pass is made, and Philippe Benatsal will score his second try this quarter-final. France pressing for another try. Richard Dut, the little chip, on goes Cabajosa. It will be another try, and Cabajosa scores his second, his fifth try for France, and that is it for Argentina.
France eventually ran out 47 to 26-point winners, but the mercurial Augustin Pichot and the Pumas have pushed them every inch of the way. At Murrayfield, the men in black were on a group scouting mission. After crushing Italy by 101 points in their final group game, New Zealand had treated themselves to a 4-day break on the French Riviera. The favourites were back in town and were gearing up for their quarter-final with Scotland. Scotland themselves were not taking New Zealand too seriously.
Yes, it's got it on. Rolls around the living heather, really go. It's glassy. Sing up, Butchie. Sing up. And we'll all go together to the wild mountain side. Come up with you, mother. All around the blue heather, will you go? Whose is that?
Before a capacity crowd at Murrayfield, the All Blacks put on a scintillating first-half display.
Just a metre or so from the Scottish line, they burrow in again. And surely must be a try here. Handing it to Umanga. Handing it didn't matter. Tana Umanga went in at the corner for his 11th international try.
New Zealand were really patient here. They kept the ball in the hand. Just a wee flick there from Christian Cullen. Umaga latches onto it, dives over the line.
Marshall under pressure, gives the ball away to Metcalf. Beautifully taken. Mertens, lovely step that time. Wilson steaming up outside him. Wilson takes it, goes in for the corner. Second try of the night for the All Blacks. Mertens. It's Hoff now, straightening it up. Deep into Scotland's 22. Robin Brooke, the 1-2. There are men over on the far side. Cullen feeds it to Umanga. Tana Umanga's second try of this game. Mark Hammett's strike. His first is a good one. Brown to Eremia, standing up tall, looking for the support. Who's there? But Grunfeld. Out to Lomo. Going the long way around, but it's easy. John Lomo with his sixth try of this World Cup. Is going to be a consolation score, is it, for Martin Leslie? Hasn't got the pace himself, but the support is there. Cammy Murray. Now then, if anybody deserves something from this game, it's little Cammy Murray.
So Jim Telfer departed with head held high, but it was New Zealand who headed for Twickenham and a semi-final with France. Nick Telfer and Scotland go down with honour, but New Zealand wrapped that one up in the first 40 minutes. But I felt in the second half there were just one or two signs of weaknesses that you wouldn't make them a good thing at 2-1 on.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone's been talking about them as the real favourites, and as you say, 2-1 on, there's not a lot of return on your pound, but there were chinks in the armour, I thought. I mean, the conditions were dreadful, but it still doesn't justify, securing only 50% of your line-out throws. Their inability to recycle that possession in the second half, I thought, was something that Hart would have really been worried about. I mean, the great New Zealand teams over the years have got that great ability, irrespective of conditions, continually bring it back, put it through the hands and the backs, but, I think the score in that second half was Scotland 15, New Zealand 5.
That's right, yeah, it was, yeah.
But the big match was for you, roast beef, across in Paris. I mean, this was the one that was, for me, really difficult to call. England, South Africa. Who do you go with? I mean, South Africa hadn't really fired in the pool games. England, a lot of talk. Neutral ground at Paris.
Look, Nick, I thought England were going to win it. I thought they were in great physical shape. I thought that they played with ambition in the build-up matches. I thought they had the flexibility. They picked Grayson and not Wilkinson, which was a very big call. And I even thought that was right, because I thought they'll play a kicking game, but I expected England to play a bombing game on Percy Montgomery, not this long ping-pong ball game. Yeah. They kicked Montgomery into the game when he's quite a brittle guy at full-back. They didn't put the pressure on Yanni de Beer. It was tactical suicide. And then the miracle man struck. I've never seen anything like Yanni de Beer's kicking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 5 out of 5. I don't think he missed one. I mean, we enjoy a game of golf, and that was when, absolutely, the timing is perfect. Every little white thing goes down the middle. I mean, it was just a Cinderella story for De Beer, and he kicked England out of the game. But tactically, I mean, very one-dimensional England. I mean, they should have known that South Africa, they stand up at the gain line, they're aggressive in defence, and they had to work out a more clever way to get in behind them, but they just was one-out stuff running into this wall of green.
No attack in space at all, and Delalio and Neil back, standing so wide that nobody got to De Beer running at him, and of course the drop goals, no pressure on him. It really was almost schoolboy rugby, disappointing. Big debate in England, but no debate about your lot. The Aussies seem to be going like the Titanic towards the final. But France, the iceberg at the other end of the draw. They played Argentina. They conceded 26 points. They played some good rugby, but with New Zealand to come, what price, Nick?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I was disappointed with France. A lot of people sort of saw glimpses of their brilliance, but when they led 17-0, scored a wonderful try early in that game, I thought this is going to be 50 or 60 points. This is the time really to put Argentina out of business. Argentina had that really tough physical match against Ireland 4 days previously. And I must say, I was very disappointed with France. The best French teams that I've seen, wonderful mix of forwards and backs running together, great continuity, but this was very much a stop-start. Yes, a couple of great tries, but Argentina got weary. But to think that Argentina got back, I think, about 4 points in the second half, they were trailing by.
Close, yeah.
I was disappointed with the Tricolour.
I thought the one thing, though, that was crucial to the French squad was the fact that they had got to the last 4. They had achieved all French aspirations, and the pressure was finally off. Australia muscled up for their semi-final at Twickenham with some gym work. Most fans expected their encounter with South Africa to be a brutal physical affair between two of the hardest working, fiercest tackling teams with the strongest defences in world rugby. And the Wallabies were getting ready for action. A few miles away, Dion Kazar, Wayne Julius and Brighton Paulser were singing of South African expectations.
Home. We will bring it back home, bring it home. We will bring it home. bring it home. We will bring it back home, bring it home. We will bring it home.
Well, I'm win.
Before a capacity crowd at Twickenham, the Springbok and Wallabies played out a dramatic encounter.
And of all people, Larkham goes for the drop goal and misses it.
Larkham's speculative effort set the tone for a game dominated by the boot.
Van der Westhuizen back to De Beer. First chance for a drop goal. And he's missed again.
After early drop kicks failed to pay off, it was left to Australia's Matt Burke to open the scoring.
Over it goes. Australia 3, South Africa 0.
Springbok coach Nick Mallett looked on and De Beer began to find his range.
De Beer, drop goal. Over it goes. He's on target and he's levelled the scores.
But Burke was not to be eclipsed.
Through it goes, up go the flags. Australia back in the lead.
Burke's penalties had given Australia a 6-point lead. In the final 15 minutes, they tried to apply the killer blow.
Matt Burke can't find a way through. Good defence from South Africa. They have it again, Gregan! Penalty to South Africa. Clinging on Gregan, it's no try.
Heroic Springbok defence, but as the last seconds of injury time ticked away, they still trailed by 3.
And it's a penalty, hands in over the top. Well, here we are. Death for extra time. Yanni De Beer, in the 6th minute of injury time, has a chance to level it up again. Yanni De Beer, a last look at the posts, collects himself. Hits it. He's got it! A sensational kick. And Yanni De Beer's nerve held. And we go into extra time.
Yanni De Beer's miraculous penalty forced the match into that extra 20 minutes. The momentum seemed to be with South Africa.
But South Africa take the lead as the rain comes sluicing down.
South Africa in the lead for the first time in the game, but this time it was Australia who refused to lie down.
Spot on, through the middle it goes, level again.
As fans feverishly worked out whether it would be the points, red cards or the dreaded toss of a coin that would separate the teams, the game threw up one last twist.
Larkham. Herbert smashes through the middle. Gregan. Drop goal from Larkham. Up it goes. Could you believe it? Larkham has De Beer.
Stephen Larkham's drop goal finally sealed South Africa's fate. When Burke added another penalty, Australia led 27-21. The Springboks were not down, but they were out.
That is it! Australia have won. Australia have made the final again.
John Eales and the Australians were through to their second World Cup final in 8 years. In the other semi-final, New Zealand faced France. The All Blacks allowing Josh Kronfeld and Robin Brooke to indulge themselves in a spot of wine tasting for a local cookery programme.
Okay. Fruit is very tropical, sort of like banana.
Their only worry, was the wine French, and would it leave a bitter taste in the mouth? "24 hours after the South Africa-Australia Classic, Twickenham would host one of rugby's greatest ever games.
Gives it to Benazzi to make the hard yards. Lovely break from Dominici. He's got real pace. Lovely running from Dominici. Caught just a metre short. And the French will want this one quickly. They've got men over. Over goes La Maison. A glorious score. Great rugby from the French.
Dominici, lovely break here. Got gas to spare. Weaving mazy run. Great tackle in the end, just drags him down. Now here's where they want quick ball. It's got to come out quickly. There's a massive overlap on the right. Ball appears, and it's a walk-in.
Kelleher hoists it high. Tana Umanga is after it. Garbajosa didn't even get near it. Dominici is hounded down by Kronfeldt. Danger here. Cullen flips on to Lomu. Lomu steps outside. Cuts inside. He's still not down. He's over! It goes to La Maison. Wilson right underneath it. This is dangerous. He's got Umanga and Lomu. This time, though, they go for the option back to Wilson. Back inside to Lomu. Pass one, pass two. Here he goes again. Bundling them off, and the big man is over for his second try.
5 minutes into the second half, France trailed by 14 points.
Back it goes to La Maison. Over it goes, and that's the full set for La Maison in this match. Try, conversion, penalty, drop goal.
La Maison's 2 drop goals and 2 penalties brought France to within 2 points.
Wilson decides to go himself. And the French have it. They're like terriers in those rucks at the moment. Dominici, he's going to go in. Dominici scores for France. They take the lead. Amazing stuff from the French. In from the side went Maxwell. He only stopped him for a moment, though. The main core of them all still driving on. They're only 5 meters short. Back it comes. La Maison chips over and through it. Dort is there for the try. Richard Dort scores again for France. Quickly away, Kelleher, Mertens, Gibson. Mertens getting it round, Umanga's dropped it. Hacked away by Magna. He and Bernard Saul are after it. Magna chases on. Wilson's got a hell of a lot to do. He hasn't done it. Bernard Saul. The try is given. Bernard Saul has surely won this game for France. Marshall misses out. Wilson wriggles free. Over he goes under the post.
Wilson's last-minute try was too little, too late for New Zealand. John Hart's red-hot favourites were out.
The game is over. France have beaten the All Blacks, the biggest upset in the whole of Rugby World Cup history.
At the final whistle, the score stood at 43-31, the most painful defeat in All Black history.
Well, incredible 48 hours of rugby, magnificent stuff. But before the semi-finals, who would have thought that if you're going to have Australia versus France and then South Africa versus New Zealand, that the first game would actually be South Africa-New Zealand on the Thursday, the third-fourth playoff?
Nick, it was the rugby world turned upside down. And to think, in the midst of the beef war, you had Middle England in its barber crying with joy, standing for lap after lap of honour from the French. It was an amazing day, the greatest day of rugby I've ever endured.
Yeah, I mean, some of those tries from the French too was just unbelievable, but it was so important that they started well. I mean, I was looking in the eyes of the French during the Marseillaise. Were they up for the battle? Were they going to get cleaned out? I actually thought 40 points to New Zealand. I really thought, I couldn't work out how they're going to stop the big boys, you know, Umunga, Lomu, Wilson. You know, Bernard Saul before the match was quoted as saying, I gave up tackling 5 years ago. He said, I'm going to ask Marc Livremont to do my tackling. And I there in my mind sort of matching them up, tete-a-tete, head for head, you know, personnel for personnel. How are they going to stop them? But they got up quickly, the French backs, and La Maison, wasn't he tactically wonderful in the way he engineered that first try?
Well, listen, that England game, when England played New Zealand, they know that Lomu is not great taking kicks, but England put kicks on him. La Maison kicked over him, and then he controlled the tempo of the game. And it's high risk, because if you get it wrong, then it's 7 points, and that happened once with Lomu's second try. But La Maison kicked beautifully, and the try for Richard Dort, he'd watched that England game. Gus got grubbered behind. Jeff Wilson stands 15 yards wide, and de Glanville got there. He did exactly the same. Dort goes over, Dorsham slams shut against New Zealand. But tactically, France got it all right. And, you know, guys like Benazzi as well, they used him and Palouse. They drove through New Zealand. I don't know, Nick, you and I both felt all the way, even from that day in Sydney, that if New Zealand had a soft underbelly, it was in the tie. And captaincy?
Yeah, I mean, they were absent, weren't they? I mean, when they got behind, you know, after that Dominici try, the lucky bounce from the Fabien Galtier kick, they really struggled. They lost structure, they panicked. It was one-out stuff, stars trying to save the day. There wasn't a semblance of a team. And, you know, up front, you talk about the soft underbelly. They don't seem to have the physical presence. I mean, everyone was talking them as the raging favourites, but the drive up front wasn't there. The typical aggressive defence from New Zealand was absent.
No.
And Mertens, I mean, really struggled in limited time and space. Olivier Magna, fantastic game. The big man did pretty well.
But, you know, Lomu apart, didn't New Zealand look lightweight compared to the other match where South Africa and Australia slugged out a very different, a very contrasting game, but a titanic one with some great defensive work and some thrilling rugby?
During that game, that's that wonderful titanic struggle. Australia at one stage recycled 16 phase possessions. I mean, a lesser team would have cracked, but the pride of South Africa, the defence, it stayed intact. Gregan went so close on one occasion, but, you know, it stuck, it stood. We went to 18 all. Could you believe that, to be a kick at, you know, right on the death?
Into the wind, wide out, one of the great kicks of all time.
They really tried to defend that title. Their attack was one-dimensional, tried to splinter Australia up the middle, but that said, it was so hard for Australia to get in behind them. Tim Horan, I must say, Stuart, unbelievable performance. Off his deathbed almost, you know. Friday he was in bed, you know, he had 2 slices of toast before that match in the 48 hours leading into it. Apparently lost 3 kilos, but he was the man of the match. He lasted for over 60 minutes, and just a monumental performance from Horan.
And tell me this, any greater irony ever in rugby than South Africa, the team who lived by the drop goal a week before, died from the boot of Stephen Larkham, who said on the Thursday, I don't go for drop goals, we put it down over the line.
Absolutely magnificent.
South Africa faced New Zealand in Cardiff for a game either team would happily have avoided. Yanni de Beer was absent from the third-place playoff, but his spirit lingered on.
A good one, though. Montgomery. Oh, yes! Pulsar. Little kick over the top, not a bad one. Another hack through. He can move, this boy. Great chance. Pulsar. Still a chance. Yes!
Pulsar's solo score gave the South Africans victory and sealed John Hart's fate. The All Black coach resigned the next morning. In the French camp, spirits were at an all-time high. The French had limited themselves to 2 light training sessions in the week since their slaying of the Blacks. an unchanged team would face the Australians. Centre Emile Ntamack summed up the mood of the entire team.
We need to play with a lot of heart. We need the support of all the French fans, just as we had in the semi-final. In that game we got together, told ourselves we could do it, and we proved it. For the final we need to do exactly the same thing.
Across Cardiff, just as much confidence oozed from the 1991 champions. John Eales, George Gregan and co remained the strong favourites, but the French defeat of New Zealand had acted as a warning. Which France would Rod McQueen's team face? The Five Nations wooden spoon team or the slayers of Lomu and company? Australia's captain wasn't prepared to take a risk.
The French against the All Blacks played probably the best rugby of the whole tournament. They showed strength right across their whole team, from number 1 to number 15. And if we don't improve on our game, then we won't beat them. If we do improve, then we're a chance of winning the World Cup.
After 4 weeks and 40 matches, the 1999 Rugby World Cup returned to Cardiff for its climax.
Charged down by La Maison, and away goes Herbert. Horan's outside him. Joe Roth. Bernard Sallow getting across, hauling him down.
After both teams tested the other out, it was left to the kickers to put points on the board.
Over it goes, a sensational kick. France have drawn first blood. Bang on target. Evans.
Both defences stood firm, but Tim Horan was starting to make inroads.
Horan getting that lovely little shift of foot. Suddenly he's got the forwards in front. Eales by himself into the 22. Back it comes. Galtier, Ntamack, Duart, Ntamack again. Bernard Sal jinking through. Forced to set it up, but it's a good setup. Now they've got men out wide. Le Maison chips to the corner. Can Mania get to it? Knocks it back. Benazi, but it was knocked forward. Almost so near, but so far.
And for every French attack, Matt Burt would punish any defensive ill-discipline at the other end.
Straight through the middle, and Australia are in the lead. Galtier, men outside, beautifully done. Tournaire to Dominici. He's got Bernard Sal outside him. Goes himself. And Gavashosa shepherded into touch.
Like the rest of the world, the French were finding the Australian defence impossible to crack, while Matt Burt piled on the points.
Australia 12, France 6.
In the second half, Australia sensed their moment and drove for glory.
Gregan quickly back to the left. Horan, again, just that lovely quick step to take him past the defender. Larkham! Stephen Larkham swamped, but only 2 meters short. Back it comes, Gregan again. Herbert. An offside, and I'm sure Australia will take the points. That will take them 9 points clear. Oh, beautifully through the middle, Roth through the middle. Is he there? No, he's just an inch short. What a wonderful move from the Australians. almost clear Matt Burke. Driving on, now this is really dangerous. Oh, and Gregan looking the wrong way, then going himself. Horan, Finnegan. Try in the corner. I think it's Ben Tune who got over. John Eales comes up with it on the second attempt. Lovely inside pass. Gregan to Finnegan. Go for the line, man. And he gets there. For a moment, I thought he was not going to go for it. And that is it. Andre Watson brings down the curtain on the 1999 Rugby World Cup. Australia the winners, 35-12. They become the first country to win the trophy twice.
So, for the second time, Australia had won the William Webb Ellis Trophy on British soil. John Eales, a young star in 1991, would lift the trophy for a second time, on this occasion as the captain.
What is it about you Aussies and World Cups in Britain? First you come to Lords and you slaughter the world at cricket, and now you've waltzed away with the Rugby World Cup in Cardiff. It's an amazing year for Australian sport.
It's been fantastic, Barnesy. Are there any more sports that you English can invent that we Australians can dominate?
I think we'll leave it at rugby and cricket at the moment, Nick.
But it was a great final, wasn't it? I must say. I mean, it wasn't one of the great spectacles. There's no doubt about that. I mean, we got 2 tries in the last 20 minutes, but it was just the methodical way the Australians went about their business. They realised that if they kept their composure, if they maintained the possession, and that's really what they did so well. I think there are only 8 turnovers in the whole match, 1 every 10 minutes. It was fantastic, just that control. And the essence of the Australian game, they showed it again, was that continuity.
I thought that they played clever rugby, especially without the ball. You know, when France played New Zealand, when they got the ball in hands, they cut New Zealand to pieces. They found space. Australia, it was almost as if they dropped a net on the rapier runners of the French, and the French became frustrated. You know, the first try, Ben Tunes, Manier took a quick tap when it was never on because they were 9 points down, and against Australia, with that defence, 9 points is like a mountain. Suddenly, it's a loose ball. Tim Horan flies, Tunes over. Australia have won the World Cup, but it was clever rugby that put it there.
Yeah, no doubt. And you've got to take your hat off to McQueen. He had 4 assistant coaches, including Barnesy, 1 just coach there just to do the tackling and to organise that defence. I mean, defences get you a long way in World Cups, and it's amazing when you look back at the tournament. 1 try they conceded against the United States in the 3 sudden death playoffs. No tries at all, and that is wonderful defence. Take your hats off to the management.
You know, Nick, in the semi-final, probably that weekend belonged to the French, and maybe Christophe Lamaison. If you looked at the final, one guy who defined it, is it Horan?
Yeah, I think so. Not just the final, but the whole tournament. He had to be the man of the tournament. Just an inspirational player. I mean, you think how good he was in '91. 8 years later, terrific again. George Gregan, the organiser of the defence.
He's like a quarterback as well, isn't he?
For sure. I mean, he's got great vision, and, you know, it was his little dart that led to that try, Ben Tune try, which really did seal the game. And Steve Larkham, we really haven't discussed him about the final. Again, he was the general. He was the one who kept ball in hand. He was the one who directed the traffic. And, you know, he's got a magnificent future, Steve Larkham. How lucky we Australians were that he came back injury-free.
Well, Larkham the future, but the present at the moment, John Eales. Like Timmy Horan, he was there with you in '91 when you lifted up the cup. What's John Eales feeling when he picks that cup up in Cardiff?
Well, just an amazing time. He would have thought about it long and hard many times. He was a great captain, I think, an inspirational captain. He spoke to the guys about the need just to sort of stay level-headed, to be composed, to keep ball in hand. But the great thing about John Eales, Stuart, is that he's such a humble guy. He's such a magnificent guy, and I think he's going to be a truly great captain, not just for you know, winning this time, but for the next 4 years. Of course, we'll be in Sydney in 2003, Barnesy, where we'll be defending it. I think it's the first former champion to actually try and defend on their soil. So, mate, we'll welcome you down in 2003. Look forward to seeing you. But that only comes around every 4 years. John Eales and the Australians got it this time.
Thanks, Nick.